but you won't feel the pain alone. No. Every inch of me is hurting and I just wanna leave it all behind. Yeah, I'm breaking up with you tonight. Yeah, you know it's hard to say. Yeah, you know we're not okay. I can see it in your face. We became a lonely place. Yeah. Goodbye so long, my dear love. Love is forgotten, so I'm moving on. Goodbye so long, my dear friend. We did our best until the very end. Goodbye so long, my dear love. My dear love, love is forgotten, so I have to move on. Goodbye so long, my dear friend. Yeah, yeah. We did our best until the very end. But goodbye so long, my dear love.
I've been waiting all night. Watch you blow a mile. Please don't come over, 'cause you're not sober. Yeah, now you know that ain't right. If you two knew you was coming over, that would be a problem. Yeah. If our friends knew undercover loving, they would try to solve it, yeah. Me and you, what we do, it stays between me and you. Me and you, what we do, it stays between me and you. Please don't touch me like that, 'cause you know I'll read it. Don't make me do this, I feel so foolish. No, breaking rules and that's facts, facts, facts. If your dude knew you was coming over, that would be a problem. If our friends knew undercover loving, they would try to solve it, yeah. Me and you, what we do, it stays between me and you. Me and you, what we do, it stays between me and you, And I know that when you come along, I'll be sure. If it's wrong, then tell me that I'm wrong, I don't care. It makes me happy, and if you're happy, then let's be happy. Then let's be happy, yeah. Me and you, what we do, it stays between me and you. Me and you, what we do, it stays between me and you.
you every dinner. I don't believe what you preach. You're just a rookie beginner. Hang out with boys in the street. Like that will make you a winner. I don't believe what I see. Why you wearing gold? You're nothing more than silverware. Thinking you're so bold, but all you are is unaware. Walk around like everything belongs to you. Talk to me like I'm the young stupid fool. Take off all your gold. You're nothing more than silverware. Why you calling me honey? Why you show off your money? Wave it like it's a tissue. Baby, this is your issue. I'm not falling for bullshit. If you like me, then say it. You don't get that I see through this facade that surrounds you. Growing up takes time, so don't you waste mine. You and me ain't right. Why you wearing gold? You're nothing more than silverware. Thinking you're so bold, but all you are is unaware. Walk around like everything belongs to you. Talk to me like I'm the young stupid fool. Take off all your gold. You're nothing more than silverware. I'm over you, so done with you. I'm over you, so done with you. Why you wearing gold? You're nothing more than silverware. Thinking you're so bold, but all you are is unaware. Walk around like everything belongs to you. Talk to me like I'm the young stupid fool. Take off all your gold. You're nothing more than silverware.
It's not my fault. You've been lying, saying that I took away your peace. Drowning by yourself, now you wanna blame me. Like you have no options. I ain't take your options. Now I'm not the problem. Man, that's on you, yeah. You've been terrorizing me, yeah, I'm always wrong. I knew you lost your mind when you dropped that bomb. Girl, are you crazy? Yeah, you must be crazy. I've been thinking lately it's you. You stole your peace, put it on me, but baby, it's you. Lying like a rat, but take your stuff back, baby, it's you. whatever, and I would never. Yeah. You've been flexing everywhere. Girl, look in the mirror. Man, you so dirty. Yeah, you look so dirty. You were never worthy. Lately, it's you.
I've been working overtime like crazy, just to show you how I really feel. Haven't had a single day of duty, just to show you that my love is real. Do you even care when I stay? Oh baby, can you even tell?
Oh yeah.
I'm under your spell. Oh baby, I just
We gonna get into this topic.
wanna look you so our eyes can find.
Baby mama drama,
Just wanna take another look at you. Maybe that's
baby daddy drama.
when I'm
Is there a such thing as baby daddy drama?
'cause you're making me complete.
Is there do men bring drama the way women bring drama? Because you know the term baby mama drama
You will know.
is an old school term. Some people say that men bring more drama than the women. Ladies, do you experience baby daddy drama?
You flowers. 'Cause you said
Baby daddy drama? Does your baby daddy bring drama to your life and make shit complicated?
do you even care when I stay? Oh baby, can you even tell? I'm under your spell. Oh baby, I just wanna take another look at you so our eyes can finally meet. I just wanna take another look at you. Maybe that's when you will see that I'm falling hopelessly in love with you. 'Cause you're making me complete. I just wanna take another look at you. Will you let me? I just wanna take another look at you.
Do I got time to get a drink? Let me get a drink. 20
I
seconds.
just wanna take another look at you. Maybe that's when you will see that I'm falling hopelessly in love with you. 'Cause you're making me complete.
I made it, y'all. With 5 seconds left. You know, I use Ecamm and everything is automated. So I gotta like have everything ready by the time the camera, like my countdown, I can't like have my countdown go to 0 and then I just be chilling and leaving it on 0. I gotta actually be here. Welcome to another episode of High Value SHAN, where not only is the content high value, not only is SHAN a high value man, so is the content, but it's mainly about the content. And today we have a new topic: baby mama and baby daddy drama. I was on the phone with a friend today. This wasn't going to be the topic at first, but I was talking to a friend, and she was explaining to me how things aren't necessarily. She feels that she's being told that she's for the streets because she has a baby, simply because she's a baby mom, simply because she has a kid. And that had me thinking, like, wow, do men out there really believe you are not worthy of anything simply because you have a kid? That's the word on the street right now. And so I was on the Lapeef Network week before last, and we had a situation where we had a little blow up where what's my man's name? I forget my man's name. He's a comedian. Oh, Clint Coley. So Clint Coley came on, and we had a kind of like a back and forth tiff on there, because we were talking about the value of a woman that has a kid, and does it bring her value down? And the answer, in my personal opinion, is yes. In the sexual marketplace value, in the sexual marketplace, the value was lower. But he had a major problem with that. You know, he had a major problem with anybody being considered lower value because they have children. And what we were trying to explain to him was, it's not her personal value, not your value as an individual, not your intelligence, not what you can provide the world, not what you can do for your community. It's the perception. It's, you know, the sexual marketplace has its own value. And I attempted to try to tell him, let's take it off of women, let's put it on men. And here's a question for you. Are men still valuable as they would be in the sexual marketplace for people that's dating, as they would be if they do? Men with children, would they still be as valuable as women? I mean, I'm sorry, would men with children still be as valuable as they normally would be if they didn't have children? And that's what we're going to discuss today. So I was talking to a friend, and she felt that way. She was like, you know, that's what I'm being told. And I guess the question is, well, what's the reasons why? What are the upsides? What are the downsides to dating a baby mama? Fellas, what are the downsides to dating a baby moms? What are the reasons why somebody would not want to date a woman with children? And you got different reasons. You know what I've been told? Because I'm a father and I have children and I'm single, that I am no longer as valuable as I used to be. One thing I was explaining on that show, I said I used to be considered a unicorn. You know, I heard the term unicorn, and I forgot I got the chat going on over here. I need to check it out. So I used to be considered a unicorn. What's a unicorn? You know, a unicorn is the horse that can't be caught. Right? It's the horses. Some people ask, well, unicorns ever real? I think unicorns were real and they just died off. It's just another species that became extinct. Is if we can have rhinos with a horn coming out their head, we can have horses with horns coming out their head. And unicorns are the horse that can't be caught. And in the sexual marketplace, a unicorn is somebody who checks off most all the boxes. And so by the time I turned 40, I checked off, to be honest with you, what women look for, most of the boxes. I'm decent looking. I'm not no super sexy Adonis dude, but I'm not that bad looking, I don't believe. So, and looks and beauty for men, shit don't really matter to women predominantly anyway. So I'm not a bad looking dude. I'm 6'2", physically fit, in shape, not overweight. Teeth are straight. Dick is big, credit is good, homeowner, entrepreneur, business, make money. I got 7 cars. You know, these are the things that I was rocking for. She's like, oh, well, he checks off that, you know, because women are looking for guys that just have some of the basics. Like, does he have a job? Is he disease free? Does he have a family? Is he married? Is he a married dude out here taking off his wedding ring, trying to holler at people? Does he have a whole family at home, but he out here moving like he's single? If you're truly single, and that's what I was, with no children, I made it all the way to 43 with no children. I was considered a unicorn. I got married, had children, loved my kids, right? Got divorced, and now I'm a father with children and older. Am I just as valuable today to a woman, let's say, with children as I would be if I had no children? Am I just as valuable today to a woman with no children if I had no children, if I also had no children? And that's the question. Flip it on the other side. Are women as valuable to men on the sexual marketplace as they would be if they had no kids? Does multiple fathers count? If you got multiple baby daddies, does that matter? You know, When a guy is dating a woman with kids, and I want to get into this, and if you guys want to, I told you guys I like you to cam up early. I don't really want to get into the whole monologue thing because I like to usually give my points of view during discussion. So if you guys want to talk about this, you can always pull up and tell me what you think. But the thing is that a guy's now. When I was a kid, here's the thing. My father, rest his soul, he passed away just this past May. He's been in my life the entire time. My dad married my mother. My mother already had a daughter. My mother had an 8-year-old daughter in 1972 when I was born. When my father met my mom at a New Year's Eve party in 1970, she was only 6 years old. So my father met my mom with a 6-year-old daughter, but that didn't stop my dad. My dad he wanted my mom. So he went after my mom, got her, married her, and then they made me. The question, so when I was growing up, men who dated women with kids was kind of championed in the neighborhood. It wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't a stigma. It wasn't a thing to look at like, man, she got kids. Oh no, I don't want to deal with that. It was almost like men that would marry a woman with children was kind of like giving props to a degree. Turn this phone off. But that's not the case today. That ain't the case today. You gone? Huh? Okay, boss. Oh, you tap in. That's not the case today. Aaron. Oh. Aaron, come here. Come here. I want you to say what's up to my people. This is Aaron Lauderdale. Bend down. They can see you right there. That's my boy Aaron Lauderdale. He's helping me out.
Yeah, stupid.
And my frat brother. Spring 93, EK Nupe.
You know what I'm saying?
Just want to throw
That's
that out
what we
there.
do.
All right, bro.
Talk to me.
All right, I'll hit you later.
Trash.
Yeah, that's trash. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for helping me today. So yeah, men back in the day were valued much higher than, men back in the day that dated women was kind of champion in the neighborhood. If a woman was a single mom and she was out there struggling and the guy came in and took things over, man, props to that brother. This is the 70s. This is the 80s, right? Props to that brother. He came in, he's taking care of that baby moms and he's doing everything he's supposed to do. And I appreciate that brother. Oh man, he coming in. That ain't the case today. Men are running from women in the section, out there in the dating world, in them dating streets. Men are running from women with kids. And there's a big argument. There's a split because the reality is, what is it? 70% of households are single parent households. And only 20% of the men are making the babies. So the men, and the reality is most like in the black community, most men are single with no children. Most men in the black community on a macro level, including all black men, are single with no kids. And so the guys are out there and they're like, man, I'm meeting these women that are having kids, but what's the downsides to dating a girl with a kid? What things do I have to look for? Am I going to have to implement some structure in that house? And that's what men pay attention to. We meet a woman with kids and we say, look, man, we all know, like yesterday we talked about men covering everything 100%. But how can you cover everything 100% if you don't have 100% autonomy in your household? So a guy meets a woman who has children, and oftentimes women with kids are looking for baby daddies. They ain't looking for love. They ain't looking for somebody to travel the world with. They looking for some motherfucking help. They want some help with these bills and these kids and these diapers and all this. They need some help. And so men kind of know that now. And they're saying, man, why would I date a woman with children when there's plenty of women? And I mean plenty of women without them. Why would I bother to do that? And if I do that, am I going to be able to lay down my laws? Am I going to be able to do the things that I want to do when I get with this woman? Am I going to be able to establish my structure in this household with somebody else's baby? Is that even possible? Can somebody do that? That's one of the questions. Whose program is the kid's going to be under? Because if the father is still around, who's going to be able to put the tutelage in that kid? I'm, you know what? I'll give you a story. I'll talk about that later. Whose program is the kid's going to be under? Can I discipline your kids with this guy who's still around? Maybe he's paying child support the way I would discipline them if they were mine. They living in my house. I'm paying the bills. Baby stepfathers tend to pay more and invest more into their stepchildren than the actual father does. Especially if you start counting time as money. But does he have autonomy over that? And oftentimes that's not the case. Oftentimes those men are not able to lay down the law that they want to establish in that house. Women, and so that's why a lot of guys go over, they look at structure. They want to make sure that are the kids being educated? What kind of food are the kids eating? Is everybody sitting at a table eating dinner together as a family unit? Even if it's just you and one kid, are y'all sitting at the table? Or, you know, if the kids are a little older, say they're older, about 6 years old or whatever, are they eating at their iPad in the bedroom on the, you know, is the food nutritious? Or are they eating bullshit, Hot Pockets and shit like that? You know, men pay attention to that kind of stuff. Who, if the kids are acting up in school, who's handling that? If the kids are acting up at home or in the neighborhood, or if they're maybe a little older, where's the discipline coming from? Is it coming from baby daddy? Is it coming from grandpa? Is it coming from unc? Is it coming from the uncle? Is it coming from the new boyfriend? And if the new boyfriend likes this girl that much, is he willing to essentially fight all these battles that he has to just so he can establish some order in his forthcoming home with this woman? You know, and then that's another thing. Who's the priority in this woman's life? The kids? So let me tell you a philosophy I used to have. I still have. Well, okay. So before I had children, before I got married, this is way back in college, I used to say, if you had children, who comes first? If a boat is sinking and you and your baby daddy and your children, if you and your husband, who's not the baby daddy, and your children are in the boat and it's sinking, and one person has to be thrown overboard. And this is a question for everybody. You guys give me your answers in the chat. You, a woman, a man, they're together, they're husband and wife, and then there's a kid, whether it's their kid or whether it's somebody else's kid. Somebody has to get thrown overboard in order for if you don't, everybody dies. Everybody perishes. Who gets thrown overboard? Priorities. Who's most important in the relationship? Are the children more important than the husband? Is the wife more important than the children? Is the children more important than the wife? Or is the husband more important than the children? You guys pull up. Let's talk about it. Oh, I got people waiting in the queue. Oh, we got TJ. Let me pull up TJ. Hold on. TJ Randolph. I'm excited to have her on my show. I've been watching TJ for months. Then my guy Sheed is here. And then and Dana's here. My girl Dana's here. You know, Dana gonna keep it spicy. She gonna come in here kicking, stepping on my furniture and kicking shit around. We know how Dana get down. Let's talk about it, y'all. Hey, y'all. Wait, hold on. Let me switch the screen. Boom. What up, TJ?
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Perfect audio. Perfect audio. What up, Dana? I can't hear you, Dana. You on mute.
Myself from mute.
There you go.
I don't be disrespecting people in their homes.
What up, Sheed?
What's going on?
Oh, there he is. Listen, we are talking about value with baby mamas and baby daddies? Are they valuable? There's an argument today. You know, it almost seems like right now there's this whole black men, black women fight, this kind of pseudo war that's going on in the dating realm, where black men, and you know, and a lot of it is the proliferation of Kevin Samuels, and with the popularity of the Your Average at Best video that came out last year. And so now it's just a hot topic because the black community is trying to figure out how to heal our relationships and trying to figure out, you know, where our divorce rates are increasing. People aren't trusting each other anymore. Social media is kind of ruining everything. And then we got the swipe left life, the people on the dating app. It's just kind of like all over the place. And one of the biggest issues that wasn't an issue so much when I was growing up, because I'm 49 years old. So one of the issues that I'm hearing and seeing today is, do men want or even think women with children are valuable? And on the flip side, do women think that men with children, single men with children, are valuable? Now, TJ, I don't know your situation. I don't know your situation. I do know Dana's. Dana has grown children, but you know, for 20 years she had young children in the house, and so they're out of the house now. But I want to hear her perspective. Sheed, I don't know. Do you have any kids? Uh-oh, Sheed is frozen. Did we lose him? I think we may have lost Sheed. Okay, well, I see you, Dana. Hey, TJ. So, hey. TJ, give me your perspective. Do you understand? TJ, first, are you single or are you married?
I am married. I've
been
married for 2 years. Yes.
Okay, you've been married for 2 years. Okay, and do you have children?
I have one daughter. She's 27.
Okay, so I want to talk to you in the mind frame of 25 years ago when she was 2. Yeah. Okay, I want to talk to you in the mind frame of 25 years ago when she was 2. A lot of people are saying that I'm not dating no woman with children. In the manosphere, in the red pill community, they're not really pushing against that. They're just saying men need to wake up. But the black pill community is saying no way. They're almost like really no women at all, but they're certainly saying no women with children because it's not worth, there's no upsides to it. And so I want to ask you guys, and I want to ask you, TJ, do you see any upside to dating a man with children? A guy like me, 49 years old, young children. My oldest son is 6. My youngest is 3. Is there any advantages or any upside to dating a man with children? And we're going to get to the downsides and we're going to get to women, but we're going to touch this one by one and we're going to get into this topic.
Okay. I had to get in on this conversation because even though I'm married now, I raised my daughter primarily as a single mother. And my first boyfriend, actually, after I had her, she was 3. Now, I've said in other videos before, when I graduated from college, I was single with no children, and I had preferences that I didn't want to date a man with children. But when I had my daughter, because I was different, my life was different. So my dating prospects changed because I was changed. So I would consider men with children, whereas I wouldn't before, because I could understand the responsibility of parenthood that I couldn't before. For me, it was never, I'm hearing all this vitriol, going back and forth, and I really don't quite understand it all, because I never had an issue finding someone to be with. Now, regrettably, those relationships didn't result in marriage. But to your point, my daughter was always well taken care of. She ate well. I mean, she was well behaved. I didn't have a whole bunch of children because I decided that I was not going to continue to have children out of wedlock after I had her. So I think it is a mindset. And because of the mindset I had about taking care of my child, making sure that whoever decided to come into our lives understood that in as much as we were a package deal, it wasn't a bad package. That's the issue. It's a package deal, but you want to make sure the package is not bad. That my child was not running around like a banshee, that she was, taken care of, that there was no father drama. Again, and I just talked about, even when her.
But you don't get to control that though, TJ. You don't get to control baby daddy drama. You get to, you know,
I don't get to
because some of these
control it.
dudes are just crazy, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, it's true. You don't get to control it, but you do have input. Just like with mother, you know, you can't control it because you're dealing with grown individuals, but you do have input. And again, and I will say, you know, it wasn't always smooth sailing. It wasn't. But I kept my daughter's well-being in mind. And so with that, I always made every effort to work with my daughter's father, as well as whoever I was dating at the time, to make sure the lines of communication were open for both in the event that it did result in marriage, because that person, like you said, was going to be just as involved, if not more involved, on a day-to-day basis with our daughter than her father was. So it goes to a mentality. No, you can't control it. But again, it boils down to you chose that person to have a kid with, whether it be male or female. The kid's here now. What are you going to do to try to make it beneficial for all parties involved? Your dating prospects, your ex, as well as the kid. That's just my point of view.
Well, tell me what was your thoughts before you started dating? You said initially you wasn't dating no men with children.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because I knew where I would fall in the pecking order.
Even in a man's life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it was something, as you know, you make decisions based on your experience or your understanding of situations at the time. As a 24-year-old coming out of college, my understanding was, okay, why would I invite that? Especially if I couldn't understand the responsibilities of being a parent, because I wasn't one. I couldn't understand, you know, the pecking order of, you know, because at that time I'm single, I want time. And I understood that as a single mom, as a single person with no children, dating a man that did have children, especially if we weren't married and we were just dating, me and the pecking order was very low. And again, when you're young and don't have kids, you're selfish. And I was no different. That's just being honest.
Got it. Now, here's the question: Is the father of your child, and I know she's grown now, but was the father of your child? Did he have children before her?
Nope. She's our only kid. He doesn't have any more children, and neither do I. So again, that's another story, because again, if men don't want to continue to have children, they don't have to either. But that's for another day.
Well, TJ, okay. So I hear you. Do you also apply that same logic to women?
Absolutely. With respect to what?
With respect to dating. So your philosophy back then, and I'm not sure if you still hold that philosophy, but your philosophy when you were a young single woman with no kids was, I'm not dating a man or even dealing with a man with children. Do you believe that men should not deal with women with children if they don't have any?
They have a preference, and that's why I did a video on that too. I said I'm not mad about that.
What's your podcast, TJ?
Oh, Mosaic with TJ Randolph.
Mosaic with TJ Randolph. Okay, and we can find that video on your channel.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. All right, so break it down for me. So it was good for the goose is good for the gander.
Absolutely. And I said you know because there were a lot of women upset about that, and I said I can understand your being upset, but I also understand the preference. Just like I had the preference that I didn't want to deal with that before I had a daughter. Men have the same right if they don't want to. Now, when I did have my daughter, and of course I had to kind of open my pool. I was not adverse to it. Sometimes you cannot fully appreciate something until you're in that position. So I don't have a problem with men feeling that they don't want to do that. I don't think it's across the board, but I think if that's their preference, they have a right to it, just like I did.
You got it. Dana. Were you married before, Dana?
I was never married. No.
Okay. Did your baby? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I kind of agree with what TJ was saying, because I have two, and my first one, and they have two different fathers. But my first one, I was a teenage mom. I don't know, I was 16. Then my son when he was 21, but his father didn't have kids. But he didn't mind. That wasn't an issue with him. I I think he didn't. Sometimes he didn't like, because my daughter, she sometimes get a little not fresh in a bad way, but a little prissy.
Where'd she
But
get that
and
from?
then they I know, right? Where'd she get it from? And then, but it's like they had to build a friendship. They eventually built a friendship with each other and stuff like that. So it's an adjustment if you don't have kids and you meet someone and you really like that person and they have kids. So it's not like, oh, are you worth it? Like I don't look at a person's value if they're more valuable or not, if they have children or not. That's, I just don't look at life like that, and I think that's wrong. But it's like, do you want, it is a responsibility to a certain degree when you are in a serious relationship. Because if you're dating somebody, you probably won't meet their kids or just be like a high and by. But when it start getting serious, and then you're around a child, yes, that is a responsibility, because that's a minor, and that's your significant other, dependent. And then on top of that, some people do have that baby daddy, baby mama drama, and no one should have to deal with that. I didn't, because even when I was with my son father, um, when we broke up, I didn't date guys who had kids under the age of 5. See, I had preferences too. I didn't mind
Uh-oh.
if you had kids, but they had to be older. And the reason for that is because they were still sleeping with the baby mama. How I know? Because that was the situation with me and my son father. So it's like, I already know what you're doing with your baby mama, because that's still fresh. And by the time your kid is 5, that's when you really make up your mind to know, okay, we're gonna stick this out together, or we just gonna co-parent and not be in a relationship. So I already knew that game, because that's when I met my son father. I was still messing around with my daughter father here and there.
Yeah,
So
but sometimes that's out of necessity, no? So, okay, I get
no,
it. So the baby
it's an
moms and the
attachment.
baby daddy is broke up. They're not in a relationship. They're not, they're quote unquote single. Their status is quote unquote single, but they still smashing every once in a while. But oftentimes that's
But
because there's
you know
nobody
why is
new,
that?
right?
Oh, but you know why is that? And which is why people who don't have kids don't want to deal with someone who do, because you still have that special bond with that other parent. That never goes away, especially when you were in that relationship and y'all was madly in love, or even married, or engaged, or just living together for a long period of time. So that's I think one of the main reasons why men or women are skeptical of dealing with someone and dating somebody with kids, because I think without them even being aware of it subconsciously, they know that that is a bond right there that they're always going to have. So where do I fit in? And that is like, where do I fit in? Especially if you're not ready for kids yourself. I really like this person, but I'm not ready for kids. And I think it's okay if you don't have kids and you don't want to date someone who have kids. That is your preference. You have every right to do that. But that doesn't mean I'm less valuable because you have a preference. Because that is your preference. That has nothing to do with my value.
Got it. Because I got questions for both of you ladies. What up,
Yep.
big dog?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I married a woman with kids. She got 2 kids, and I'm raised in like an old school, because I was raised by my grandma. So when I first met her, we was friends actually. Then we started dating.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of seen the kids here and there, but when we started getting serious, it was like didn't see them too much, no attention. It was basically me and her. Every once in a while, I might do something with them. I might take them to the movies, and I bring my little cousin that's around their age, and take them out playing stuff. But when the relationship started getting serious, it came down to the point where I had to let her know like certain things, like you know I need to talk to your baby daddy, because the relationship, once it starts, going into the motions, I'm gonna be around the kids more. I might even move in, or you move in with me, and it's gonna be an issue if the kids be disrespectful. I already told her like from the jump. I'm not gonna wait for you to get home and discipline them because that's how it starts between kids. So
Was
if
she
you
on?
don't
Was
want
she
me
on
to
that? Was she cool with that initially?
initially, she had some questions about it, and so we, more or less talked. And I told
These
her,
my
I'm not
kids.
a
These my
violent person.
kids.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know about you whipping my kids now.
These
I
my
was like,
kids. You
I'm
ain't
not a
put no hands.
violent person, but dealing with your kids, as long as they respectful, I'm respectful. I don't just really would just want to whoop a child for no reason, but at the same time, I don't take no disrespect from adults. So why am I taking from a child?
You,
And I
you
just
said she
let her
has.
know.
You said she has 2 children, right?
Yeah, two.
By 2 different men or the same man?
Same guy. If she had two
Okay,
different, that would have been no deal for me. But
She tell us, give us some insight. How did that conversation go with that baby daddy?
so basically, after me and her start getting more serious, I told her, I said, now I'm eventually have to talk to this guy because I'm gonna have to let him know that I'm dealing with you. And at first she was like, oh, he a deadbeat. Nah, don't worry about it. I'm like, nah, because in this scenario, if he do start coming around and something going on, he need to know that, I'm whooping his kids and, if something happens and we having this conversation. So she's like, nah, I don't want you to talk to him. He crazy. He stupid. I'm like, we both men. We should be able to talk sensible. So, I talked to him and, at first he wasn't having it either. He was like you
Oh,
want to
really?
whoop my kid? Yeah, he was kind of be like, why? And I'm like, well, as a man, I don't take no disrespect, so I'm not gonna let no child disrespect me. And so he was like, yeah. He's like, well, kind of, my hands are tied because, because he was in another state for one, but two, he didn't really see him as much. So I was just doing it out of respect. I mean, personally, I didn't care because my wife already gave me the go ahead anyway, because we talked about it. Like I said,
Right.
over time it built because my thing of it was, like I said, I dealt with women before with kids, and it kind of like really turned me away because I tell them, your child disrespectful. I can't deal with you because I'm not gonna let no child talk reckless to me. I had one chick, her son told me, you ain't my daddy. I was like, shut up, little boy. I was like, go on in there, man. Go do your homework. And the mom in there cooking or whatever, but, just kept running at the mouth. So I ran up on him, grabbed him by his collar in his arm, and just pushed him in his room and closed the door. And she was like, why you doing my child like that? I said, oh, it's my fault that he running off at the mouth to an adult, and you treating him like an adult by letting him do it. I say, so basically what you're telling me is, you're gonna discipline me versus your child. So that relationship ended because, like I said, I ain't letting no adult disrespect me. So what you make I'm gonna think a kid disrespect me for? So
Yeah,
when it
so
came
what-
down to it with my wife, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say. So how much longer did that relationship last?
Nah, that was over like probably within that week. That situation happened. Told you, man, my cutoff game strong, man. Like, nah, I'm not having that. But,
Wait a minute, but
my
you,
thing,
you told the kid to shut up. What did he say to you again?
yeah. First he started yelling. I don't like. It was some crazy argument. Like,
You ain't my
I think
daddy.
he wanted to play or do something, and I told him, I said, nah, you got to go do your homework. Then you could go play. I think he was going outside or something crazy. Then he, start running at the mouth, trying to tell me, well, I'm just gonna go outside anyway. And I'm looking at his mama like, you ain't gonna say nothing? Oh, you just gonna let him talk to you like that and me? Nah. So, I just went on and told him, I'm like, nah, man, go in your room, man. And he kept popping at the mouth, you ain't my daddy and all this. And one thing led to another. So I'm like, okay. So I just went and grabbed him. I was like, man, you running your mouth too much. Go on in your room and do your work. So he took a little offense to it, and especially his mom, she started getting a little mad because I grabbed him. And like I told her, he disrespectful. Like, this your child. I shouldn't have to do that.
Right.
And that's the thing.
How old
When
was
it comes
he?
down, I think he's about like seven or eight. Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
And so basically, at that age, that's when they start getting a little rowdy anyway. So I told her, I was like, you let your kid, because every time he would say little stuff to her, and he'd be like, oh, he just playing. And then he'll laugh it off like, "I love you, mom." And when he was like, I'm like, that's too close. I'm like, nah, I don't play with kids like that. I say I joke and play with him, but he getting a little bit too disrespectful. And he'll tell her shut up sometime and laugh. And I'm like, So he try me like that because kids they'll try to see what they can get away with.
Go
No,
go
I'm not
ahead,
having
TJ.
that.
Okay, so here's the thing. For me, and I guess it's that military thing in me. Uh, my daughter always knew where you act up is where you get beat up. So it was just never. So even if I'm dating someone, she knew to respect. First of all, I didn't bring my daughter around a lot of people anyway because again, it's I just wasn't gonna do that. But if I had trusted someone, and really it was just really one guy, she was to respect him the way that she respected me, because I just don't play that. My thing was always I don't play with kids. So I so again the whole notion again, I think like I said, when you are dating someone that has children, you can accept the package deal if you choose to do so, but it depends on what kind of package it is. My package didn't include disrespect. My package didn't come with disrespect, so I wasn't accepting a package with disrespect. So I think, that's the issue. You have some women, I mean, I never thought that because someone, it's kind of what Dana is saying, it was about preferences. I never thought I was less than if someone chose not to date me with my daughter. But I didn't think I had to accept anything either if you chose to date me with my daughter. So standards go both ways. That's
Did
just
you?
my opinion.
But see, okay, Dana and TJ, when do we go awry in our culture? Was it when kids learn that they can dial 911? When kids learn
Yes.
that because we come from a school where we didn't play that shit. But today, like the child, it takes a village to raise a child, right? That's what we grew up on. But so nowadays, you'll hear somebody. I see parents get mad at the teacher. The kids will come home and tell their parents something, and the mama will go up to the school and bang on the teacher. That was not even a concept when I grew up. When I grew up, if you was a kid, you was wrong. Period. Even if you was right, you was wrong.
You was wrong.
Even if you was right, you was wrong. You couldn't. It was like a football game. Two sides: parents, adults, and children. It wasn't no adults getting mad at other adults by something that a child said. That's how it was for me here in LA in the 70s and the 80s. So now today, you'll see parents get mad at teachers and say, my child said something, something, something. And I know half the time, if not more than half, them kids be lying through their teeth. But and in the neighborhood, can't nobody say nothing to nobody's child. When I was growing up, I got 4 whoopings by the time I got home. And then I had to wait for that one because they called each other. So Derek's mom, if she caught me doing something I had no business doing, I caught her from her. Then I got it from Calvin's mom. Then I got it from Frank's mom. And then I got home and they had already talked. And then I got it from my mom. Today, you can't even, it's not even about touching children. You can't even say nothing to them. You can't even say, get out the street. Be careful. Cars is coming. The mama's going to be like, I know what my kid's doing. I'm watching them. You mind your business. So at what point so if that's the case in general public, the dating scene has got to be crazy. Just like she went through it and said, this woman is out here telling him, don't talk to my kids like that. And this is a relationship that could have potentially turned into something bigger. But if you got young women, and we could get on the men too, we'll switch to that. But if we talk about the women now, if we're talking about young women who don't want anybody to say anything to their children, then what happened and what time did everything change? When did this all switch up? What happened to the village? It takes a village to raise a child.
That's gone, honey. That's been gone.
But it started going away. It started going away late 80s and I say definitely by the 90s, because I think still in the 80s it was still, because I was in high school in the 80s, junior high and high school in the 80s. And, we had principals and superintendents that were like our surrogate parents, teachers that were like our surrogate parents. So I think it started to really erode late 80s, 90s, because again, you're absolutely right with calling 911, not being able to discipline your children in public, not even being able to raise your voice to your children in public. So again, when you had all these outside entities coming in to really kind of cripple the authority of the parent and the teachers, but then you have this generation of young, ignorant mothers, I'm just going to say it, young, ignorant, ghetto, unfabulous mothers. Let's just be honest here.
Walmart
Because
mothers.
yeah, and again, that's when it started to, and then it heightened when we're talking into the 2000s. It just did. So I think you answered the question pretty much when you asked it, because you're absolutely right. That's when it started to erode. The timeout principle, all that bullshit being bull crap. That's when it started to erode, and then you have a few parents like, that are raised, old school mindset that still try to do it, but we're in the minority. Because again, I was one of those parents. If my daughter, she knew, again, and she'll tell you, she knew, because again, I'm military, we're all over the country. She knew if I had to come to that school for anything other than the honor roll. I say again, anything other than the honor roll. She knew what time it was. Right, even up to her senior year in high school, I would show up in class. I'd be there before she got there and look around and see me and like, oh shit, my mom's here. But see, I'm an anomaly. That don't happen like that no more.
Yeah. That's like with my wife. She was in church one day, and the older lady that was an usher. I got twins, so the lady said something to my twins, and she's like, "Oh, you don't want none of this. You better, sit your butt down and this and that." And so my wife come home. She didn't say nothing to the lady, but my wife came home and was like, "Yeah, man, that lady, she said this and that, to the boys. That's disrespectful. You don't talk to kids like that." I was like, "What they do?" She like, "It don't matter what they did." I'm like, "Yes, it does, because for a grown person to say something like that, what did they do?" And our, opinions kind of clashed at that point. And I told her, I say, "See, this is the reason why, the oldest two were going through struggles until I came along, because you got this new mindset as a parent to deal with the kids as friends or something." I'm like, "Nah." I tell my kids all the time, "I ain't your friend.
Talk about that.
I'm your dad. I'm your dad." I said, at the end of the day, we can joke and play all day, but when I say serious, like I was on the panel one time, I said, my oldest two, I let them call me by my first name, Rashid. My youngest, they don't. One time my son came to me, he said, "Dad," I said, "What's up?" He said, "Why can't we call you by your other name?" I said, "What other name?" He said, "The one that starts with the letter R." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Your first name." He said, "Like Uncle Rashad." I said, "You mean my first name, Rashid?" And he was like, "Yeah, that name." I said, "Who am I to you?" He said, "My daddy." I said, "That's your name. You call me, and that's it. Nothing more."
You don't think that
So who
causes
called you
confusion?
by first name? Wait, who
No,
called you by?
because go ahead.
The older two, the children that's not his, call him by his first name, Dana. But his biological twins call him dad, and I'm asking him,
yeah.
Okay.
do you think that causes some kind of confusion to the children, and maybe, or you might be creating some dissension between the kids behind closed doors, saying, "Well, you can't even call him Rashid. You got to call him that." Do you think that may be a problem later on, or do you think it may cause some confusion?
No, because I sat down and explained to them why. I said, "Those are not my kids," and they understood that just perfectly fine. I said, "Do you honestly think if your older brother and sister had my last name and came through me, that they would call me by my first name?" They said no. I was like, "End the story." I said, "There's a difference. I'm not gonna force them to do anything they don't want to do." Just like I told their mom, just like I told their dad. I'm here as the stepfather. I'm stepping in and helping her raise your two kids, whether you like it or not. I'm not going nowhere, so I'm gonna be here. So I'm like, the thing is, we got to work together, the co-parent, that it's gonna be in the best interest for your kids, because in the end, it's essentially like they got two dads. I mean, you don't like, probably me whooping on them or doing anything, but When you don't have money, guess what? I'm be footing the bill. You know, when something's going on and you can't get to it or you can't help him out of the situation, that's when I'm stepping in. So, like I said, whether he likes it or not, I'm gonna be with their mother. So they just gonna have to accept it too. So and I let them know the same thing. You know, I'm not here to be your dad. You know, at the same time, all I want is respect. Like my oldest daughter, me and her, we kind of clash. We still clash, and she's like 23. But the one thing, she respects me. You know, the brother, different story. Me and this guy are real tight, talk about everything, work with each other. She's that daddy's little girl, so she has her issue.
Man, we got Edward Anderson up here. I feel honored. This is getting better and better about it. I got TJ and Edward. This is dope.
Can I drop it? Can I finish up? So basically,
go ahead.
with my wife, with my kids and everything, like I said, you know, I let him know that, you know, that's what I'm gonna be disciplining the kids. And, you know, even with my wife, she had some on the fence side. And like I told her, I said, God, I'm gonna make this real clear. I said, if anything happens as far as your kids and they get disrespectful, you ain't gotta give me permission because I'm gonna do it anyway. So I'm being nice, or I just won't be around at all. You know, that's a deal breaker for me. I don't take disrespect from nobody, so why would I take it from a child? You know,
did you say this early on? Hey, did you say this early on in the relationship, or just is this something you sprung on her later on after y'all didn't already fell in love?
No, this was when we first got together and the relationship started getting serious. Because once I seen the kids, you know, well-mannered kids. Yes, sir. No, thank you. All that. No issues with them. But, you know, the little girl, you know, she would always do little bad stuff. Like, you know, she would, you know, try to be sneaky. And I seen it in her. And I told my wife, I was like, you're going to have problems with her. She's like, I do. Because she told me one time she got a whooping for something she did in school. So when at the end of the night, probably was like 7 o'clock, getting ready to go to bed, she was crying all night saying her ear hurt. She went down to the hospital, sat down there probably 6-7 hours down at the hospital with her daughter, and wasn't nothing wrong with her daughter. She was playing with the other little kids in the hospital and everything. I was like, I told you. I'm like, that little girl gonna be an issue.
Why she do that? Why she do that? Because sometimes with kids, they're acting out for a reason. And I know this is not the kids show, you know, it's about baby mama, baby daddy, but some of those, and which is another thing that someone has to deal with, because she may be acting out because her father wasn't there, but it was a reason behind that. So now you're in the picture, taking on that responsibility along with your, you know, the mother. And I think that's another reason why men, you know, some women, but mainly men, they don't want to deal with that. You know, when a kid is acting out because the parents are not together.
Yeah, that's like that's a deal breaker too within itself. You know, my stepdaughter wasn't that bad. You know, she had her little issues, but like I said, overall, she was respectful to me, you know, and she knew that eventually we was gonna, you know, get married, and it was nothing she could do about it. So she went along with it. She had her little issues, but you know, we worked through it. But overall, like I said, it came down to that, where it's just what it was. You know, if it was anything other than that, like I said, I'd have been gone too. Because at the end of the day, if I love her and her kids was an issue, that'd be a deal breaker. You know, that's a deal breaker all day. Because like I said, I can't take no disrespectful kids, no matter how much I love you. I'm not gonna force you, because there was a point where I was gonna make my wife was gonna send her daughter to go stay with her dad, but I told her don't do it, because I'm like, she's not gonna make it. Like, she was a straight A student, honor roll, did everything good. When she went to go stay with her dad, that was not gonna be the case. You know, she was gonna start slacking in her grades because nobody's there to, you know, be on her, stay on top of her. And plus, his kids, that additional kids outside of her, were free to do almost anything they want, because she would come back and tell us, like, yeah, my stepbrothers and stepsisters, they do this, they do that. And one of them got kept back, I think two or three times, something like that. So I was like, yeah, I don't want that on her. Especially on my conscience too. I was like, nah. I was like, we'll just work another year or two through this, because it's gonna be in the best interest for her to stay with us.
What up, Edward?
Yeah, what's up? And what's up to everybody in the panel? This is a really great panel with really great perspectives. I've heard a
What's
little
going
bit
on,
from
Rick?
everybody, even though I don't show up in everybody's chat. I know she, so. And like I said, and that's why I share your stuff, Shannon, because certain people attract certain type of conversations in a certain perspective, and regardless if people want to call it blackmail YouTube or whatever YouTube, this stuff that's needed. And I always try to, share stuff from people that have experiences that, because I don't have kids. So I can speak from a single guy on the perspectives of dating a single mother. But at the end of the day, I don't have kids. So
Are there any upsides to dating a single mother?
I mean, this is what I say. I'm open-minded if somebody wants to tell me what those are. And I'm pretty imaginative, but it just depends. But I think I'll say this. The reason why I like the ages of a lot of people that are on here is because there's two types of conversations when this gets had. There's an immature conversation where people are just trying to have people to move into their situation to make their life easier. That's the real goal. And then there is the conversation where you have two people that can come together and then make something better. One person may have kids, one person may not. And that conversation does not always get had in the black manosphere. Although Sheed is in the black manosphere, there are people that can definitely represent that perspective. And so I grew up I had a stepfather. I'm going to just put it out there. My mom, all of my brothers have different dads. So, and that's not the type of family I necessarily come out of as far as the greater family, but that was in fact, I have a step grandmother. I don't even know because my biological grandmother on my mom's side died.
Okay.
So I didn't know her. So and I'm the oldest. So I'm not coming in here with I ain't, seen nothing to understand that. And all my friends, they had stepfathers for the most part, especially ones that are black. And we don't, and I didn't grow up in the hood. I'm in North Carolina right now, from Chicago in North Carolina. So, when she says that you call your biological father dad, and you call, the person that's a stepdad by his first name, that's something that I've seen. That's a form of respect, especially where the dad was still present in the kids' lives in most of these situations that I'm saying with stepfathers. They knew each other, they talked to each other, and it was just. And my point is, there's agreements that were understood today that is the 2010s. That doesn't exist. It just doesn't, to the point where people are forgotten about them. So for instance, women understood when they were winning, and they understood I got it where I want it. It's time to press the cruise control button and let the men do what they need to do, as long as I got what I want. As far as I got somebody in there, they're in the child's life, the original father in the child's life, it didn't work out because they were married, they got divorced, and not to push the issue. Now, because now this is not me trying to blame the women all the way, but I'm just saying, because a lot of the women don't know, they don't really understand when they're winning, it gets to this thing where you want to kind of approach a man as a childless woman, even when you have kids. And here's the thing. There's a lot of black men out there that are successful. I'm thinking of a couple that actually do make over six figures, that they have a one child rule, where if it's one child, they play the, mistakes happen, people live life. But so everybody is not necessarily hardcore on the no single mothers or no kids rule. The problem is when men are approached with entitlement, especially men that they know they are producing for themselves. It don't even got to be six figures. Like if you're in North Carolina and you're making 60,000-70,000, you're doing well. Meaning you are taking care of yourself, and then people can actually depend on you, and you still got extra money. So it also depends. So my point is, when people are coming from an entitled standpoint, like you coming into my situation, you need to be happy. When the dude isn't even committed to you like that, he could be looking at you like, look, I'm just trying to sleep with you. I ain't trying to do all of that. But on top of that, you doing that? Oh, okay, you're going to get put in that same lane. That's different from women that come at it with a more mature mindset. Not to say that they settle, but they understand that like they understand the value of what a man is. They understand what they want in a man, and so they approach a man that way. You know, that is going to be responded to differently. And I think a lot of women, I'll say this and I'll be done. Get the bad culture and single motherhood does not mix. It doesn't. You can play that game as a childless woman in your 20s, maybe in your early 30s. And I'll give you a perfect example. Everybody likes to trump up Sierra. If you look at how Sierra approached Russell Wilson, it was not of the image of, you should love me. She understood who he was, the money
she pledged. She pledged for that love. He put her through it.
And even if people can say she wild out after the fact, I mean, well, that's a different conversation. But if you're going to show up, how you show up matters. And I don't think that gets talked about enough. Anyway.
Yeah.
The representation matters when you meet somebody. But something you said, though, you was like, some men just probably want to smash and not be serious. And that's cool, too. But the problem that I have with that, when they're, when it's a single mother, say that. Tell her that you don't want nothing serious. Because some men like a girl, think she fine, but don't want to be serious with her because she has a kid, but you still have sex with her, go on dates, and she's thinking that it's going to develop into something more because you're not conveying to her, I'm not interested in having a relationship with someone with kids. And I think men need to be more honest about their intentions. And they're not doing that.
Well, I'll say on the first part, I absolutely agree. Men need to make their intentions known. We live in a society today where women are openly saying that they're for the streets. And when you say you're for the streets, well, that's you advertising. I understand. What do you think the streets are? So yes, men should. I subscribe to Alan Roger Curry. Men should be very up. You can argue the tactfulness of it, but you need to be upfront and straightforward about what you want and why you want it. And there's no excuses not to be. I don't believe men should lie to any other circumstance. And whether they have kids or not, but I will say it's worse when they have kids because you play this uncle stuff where dudes are seeing other uncles. Now, to be fair, in my situation, with the whooping, there was only one dude that ever got the okay to whoop us. Only one. But you had, she did that, and then it got serious, and then we came to North Carolina. So, and I didn't meet everybody that she knew, and I was the oldest, so I was a little bit more understanding of what was going on, and my younger brothers were. In fact, my middle brother just turned 30 today, so that's interesting. But I agree. I agree. Now, if we go into how many men are doing that, I'm not gonna act like there's enough men that are lying that is worth talking about. So I'll give you that. It's definitely enough.
There was when I was married, because I married my wife and she had 2 children already, and I had already talked to the father. The first father was kind of absent; he wasn't nowhere around. The second dad, he was around, and we had an understanding and whatnot. But one of the things that I had an issue with, and it's always stuck with me. I grew up, as a boy. Imagine a boy in the 70s growing up around Evel Knievel, watching TV shows like Happy Days. We did motorcycles and mini bikes and dirt bikes. That's what we rode. I don't really see kids riding bikes these days. It's weird to me. I look up and I see all the kids walk or is on a skateboard, but bicycles, like we used to fix our bikes. We were mechanics as children. By the time you was 10, you was damn near a full-blown certified mechanic. So my stepson had got of age, and I wanted to buy him a mini bike. And the first thing I thought about was, damn, I need to run this by his actual dad. And that always kind of like stuck with me. Like, damn, why do I got to run shit by somebody else when I'm establishing a program over here, and I want my stepson, in my mind, my son, to have and live the way I did. So I called his dad up. I said, hey man, I'm gonna get him a step bike. His birthday's coming up. I'm gonna go ahead and pick him up a mini bike. It's a cool little, like little 32cc, little something's gonna be real fly. And he's like, no. I don't want him. I don't want him riding one of those. I don't want him to get hurt. And I'm thinking to myself, well, kids get hurt. You know, if he hurt you, this is how you know, when I grew up, you had to learn how to fall, right? You had to literally learn how to fall. You put your hands down, there's certain ways that you fall so you wouldn't injure yourself. And I'm like, well, he might get hurt. He might not. We're going to do the helmet thing and all the pads. No, man. No, don't do that. I don't want him to have one of those. And then I talked to my ex, my wife at the time, and I said, you know, there's no mini bike. And she was just like, yeah, no mini bike. And I just had to deal with that. And that always bothered me because when you get with somebody, you want to create and establish a structural program that is up under your, you know, basically you want to lay out all the details of the plan, and you don't want no outside influence. You want full autonomy over making all the decisions on how everybody that you're covering and you're paying for and you're taking care of is operating under. And that's not the case. And that's one of the things that can be a super big problem. And, you know, and to be honest with you, I don't think most men have a problem with being a stepfather. It's just that when the drama comes, men don't want problems. Like you always hear us talk about peace. Men, you know, what we want. What do American men want in a relationship? Peace. The first thing everybody's screaming out is peace. And it really is. It's peace, tranquility. We don't want no issues. We don't want no problems. And it's not just from his woman. He don't want it from his woman's ex. He don't want it from the baby daddy. He don't want it from he don't want it from granddad, and he don't want it from her mama. He don't want it from her uncles and aunts. He don't want none of that stuff. It reminds me of The Color Purple when Harpo was trying to establish some shit with Sophia, and he went to his dad and got counsel, and then Sophia had her whole tribe, and that whole thing broke down. That's a really good movie that illustrates that that Harpo didn't have any autonomy in his own house because Sophia was being influenced by outside people, and then the relationship ended up breaking up, and that's when he got with the other girl, Squeak. So when I wanted to buy a mini bike for my stepson, I couldn't get one, and I really, really wanted him to buy a mini bike because I wanted to be out there and teach him how and teach him balance and all that kind of stuff, and it didn't happen. But the reality is, if I knew that was going to happen, and I knew that there was going to be other problems with being a stepfather in advance, I had to ask myself, man, would I have done that? Would I do that all over again? I think for most guys, they would prefer a woman that has children. If they're going to date a woman with children, that they would date a woman that the baby daddy ain't around, that he ain't even around, because that way he can come in and he can establish a plan for that family and that household in the event he wants to expand it to that. And there's no pushback from nobody. But men got to deal with another. This is a lot of alpha and masculine energy that got to go head to head, and two men may not necessarily see eye to eye on a lot of issues.
That's why. Go ahead.
Go ahead, TJ.
This may be unpopular, but I would think too. Like if I was married, say for instance, I'm married to my husband and my daughter was still a minor, and my husband was taking care of everything, and in as much as her father isn't involved, if my husband was taking care of everything, me as the wife, he would be taking care of everything. So the father may have a problem with it, but unless you gonna take care of her full time, my husband's taking care of everything, so we gonna get the dirt bike.
You sound like a traditional woman.
Yeah, and I understand that, and this is why it's very unfortunate that the chain got broken, because I'd say this ended, in my opinion, we could say 2000. We say before 2010, because 2010 is where stuff really got crazy. This is where you really see the before and after shift, in my opinion. They had this stuff under control. Like a situation like that would have been worked through. Like they would have been able, and I'm not saying in every situation, but it would have been able to be worked through.
By and large,
and sometimes he would have had to take the L's, and sometimes they would have got the W's. Because even in the situation you're talking about, fortunately, dudes have rights, and depending on how the guy wants to exercise those rights, especially if they trying to exercise it with dudes are paying child support, dudes can create problems, just like women can create problems. It's just usually men will look at it See, the thing about what you said, TJ, is what most dudes will say is, okay, well, they are paying for everything. See, that thing with the motorbike is tricky because you're not just talking about falling. You're talking about potentially seriously being hurt. So I get it, but at the same, like, people are like that with down here with guns. Like, you have somebody that comes down here from the north and stuff, and so it usually doesn't get that bad. Most of the time, a guy that's not in the household will say, well, he is paying for everything and you're not creating problems for me. So yeah, is it really that bad to acquiesce to what you're talking about? It's just the thing with the bike is it's not about somebody falling, getting hurt. But 90% of the stuff you would probably win in a situation like that. But they had this more down pat. And like I said, the younger folks is like millennials. It's just not working that way because there's a lot of pettiness in there. There's not the village situation. It's not there anymore. Like what you all were talking about earlier that I don't need to relitigate. It's about, look, I feel some type of way. When I say that, I'm talking about the dudes now. I feel some type of way. It's my kids. I don't care what you and that nigga is saying. Go ahead, Dana. That's the mentality, though.
I would ask Shannon because TJ don't open up a can of worms, honey. Because I would ask Shannon, what was the reason for the father to say, no, I don't want him to have it? You know,
safety. It was a safety issue.
Safety issue. And in that case, then that parent say so trumps you, the stepdad, because it's a. And how old was he? It
wasn't a safety issue to me.
Right, but it's a safety issue to that parent, and I get it because if I don't know how old the child was at the time.
So then, at that case, but where does that stop, though, Dana? And I don't. So where does that stop? Does that mean that he can also define his diet and tell me what groceries to buy? Right, because he may think the cereal that I'm buying.
Right, no,
but Shannon, that's a life issue, though.
If he's 7,
but you're saying you don't trust his judgment because again, he's not going to get the bike. He's not going to get the bike and not go over the safety precautions because again, he's talking as if his own son. He's not going to put his son, even though it's a stepson, in harm's way. So that means he's going to get the dirt bike. He's going to go through the necessary safety training. He's going to work with that young man like it was his own. So again,
but if he said, if the father says no,
hold on, TJ, hold on, TJ, hold on. Go ahead, Dana.
If the father says no,
if the real dad who's not in the house says no,
the father, the daddy who is still spending time with that child,
he is doing that.
From that child,
he is doing that.
Says no, then it's no. You have a son. You have kids now, Shannon. So would you? Not about the bike. It could be about anything that you just not feel.
Why you gotta break it personal? Why you gotta make it personal, Dana? Why you gotta bring it on? No, I got you. No, you can ask me. You're saying basically if my ex gets with a new man and her new man fall in love and they get married and he wants to do something that goes against me, what trumps? What wins?
And it reasonable because it could be, and if you feel as though I'm not comfortable with him at this young age to have that just yet, to me that's reasonable. But the fact is that because whether you think it's reasonable or not, I'm still that kid parent. So God forbid if something did happen, and he really hurt himself, DADDIES is not looking at the stepdad, they looking at the mother and the father. That's my kid. So even though you married, that other parent who's not in that household, that's that gets shared custody with that kid, they still have a say so. And the mother or the father shouldn't trump somebody because they don't like their final decision. And it has to be reasonable.
Well, here's another question.
That's all tricky.
The mother has to say so too, though, right? Doesn't the mother have to say so too? Because the mother chose the husband. So chances are she chose the husband believing that the husband loves her child, has her child's best interest at heart. So it's two, because again, she is the wife.
So then she's the wife, but the wife gonna have to talk to the baby daddy and be like, well, what is the issue?
And then once we have the issue and we come to an agreement, if my husband is assuming the responsibility,
but that's what I'm saying now. Your child, and I don't want to use the word baby daddy, but your child with that baby daddy, that's separate from you and your husband and certain decision makings.
I just want to ask.
I'm
Hold
telling
on,
you how I
hold on,
did it. I'm
TJ.
telling you how I would do it.
I want to
Go
ask
ahead,
a quick
Edward.
question. Shannon, did he want the bike, or was that something that you wanted for him? Because that matters.
He wanted it.
Right.
The kid, the boy, he wanted it.
Because it's different. Because
I mean, did you tell him about it? And he was like, "Yeah, I want it," or did he come to you saying, "I want it"?
Did I coerce him into wanting something that he
Yeah.
really didn't know about? Listen, I don't know. I don't remember actually. It could have been.
Shannon, you know if somebody really wants, because see that veto card that TJ's trying to pull out becomes a lot stronger if the kid really wants the bike than if it's like, okay, because that's what I would ask. I'd be like, do you really want the bike?
Okay, so listen, I got other situation. I got PC versus Mac. I wanted the whole Mac family, but he wanted a PC and the dad. I got iPhones. I got smartphones. I got kids with smartphones at 9 with Instagram. Why? But you got a father that's cool with it, and they're cool, and I'm like, no, that ain't happening. What the fuck? I'm trying to protect the daughter. I'm trying to protect him from online. No, they don't know what the fuck they need an Instagram and a profile for. Oh, because, and it's like, that's a safety issue.
On this panel, a question: have y'all seen that movie Moneyball with Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the scene when he went to his ex-wife's house, the daughter wasn't there. She was at a friend's house, and then the new husband was there, and he was like, "Oh, call her," and the new husband was like, "Oh, call on her cell phone to see where she's at," and he's like, "Cell phone, big parenting decision." And then the new husband was like, "Well, we feel as though she needed it, blah 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 blah," and he said, "Well, that's something me and her mother's gonna have to discuss," and he was right. You the husband, y'all live together, but at the same time, that is a big parenting decision when you talking about a cell phone. And you talking as if that's different. And he had no say so.
But you're right, but there's a difference between doing it and not consulting, and then kind of consulting and then say, look, I'm giving you the courtesy of letting you know what's going on. But and I want your support in that, but I mean, the veto part is like, and so I'll give them that credit, but at the same time, this is only an issue because, like I said, somebody thought that's a life situation. That's what I'm saying. That's the only reason why I really kind of give it that iPhone and Mac stuff. Man, people can get over that,
but a broken leg is a little bit more serious. I got you.
Yeah, that's like there's only a couple of issues that would kind of rise up to like where I could kind of give you that, but most of the time, what TJ's saying. If you're not being put on child support and you're paying what you need to be paying, but it's not stressful like that, you do kind of gotta acquiesce to that household, and that's how I've seen it be run. Because I know that look that TJ has. I had a girlfriend that her mother had that look, where it's like,
nigga, please.
The veto card is there. You know where it is. I'm not gonna show you because I respect you as a man. I know I really don't want to pull it out for something like this, but it is there. But see, the difference is they would really want what they're talking about. It wouldn't be something where it's like, well, I want this for them. But yeah, so I know that look.
TJ, it's kind of like this. When you were raising your daughter, was he around? Was the baby dad around?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
were you guys together?
At one point, when I had her, we were not together. And it's to Dana's point, we were not together when I had her, but we reconnected when she was 5 and got married when she was 5.
Okay, so when she was young, before 5 years old, if he had the daughter for the weekend and he let his girlfriend do her hair, I already know the answer. You already showed it.
No. I did a video on that. As a matter of fact, me and my daughter both did a video on it, and it says when your ex's girlfriend loves your child, and she did. And she
okay,
did,
so you don't have a problem. You don't have a problem with your exes. You don't have a problem with your baby daddy's girlfriend doing your daughter's hair and taking care of your daughter.
How long have they been a girlfriend?
No. Like that's no, because I mean,
because what happened? But you're not worried about one day that she is getting on her program, quote unquote, and start maybe even calling her Mom.
Nope.
Well, doing hairs and doing perms are two different things. Like putting acid in
Right.
my kid's head, yeah, that's gonna be something I want to know.
That's
But
something different.
braiding
That's
it,
a chemical.
yeah, braiding it,
And
yeah,
yeah, and
that's yeah.
thank you for bringing that up, Edward, because my daughter, me and her father, and this is the first child. When we broke up, he got a girlfriend, and they were serious and stuff like that. And they lived together. They ended up living together. So my daughter was around her even more. So the thing is, she was like, "Oh, I want to take her to get her hair done." My daughter never had perm; she never needed one. I want to take her to, get a doobie, right? I was like, "All right, just a blowout, and just have them wrap it around." But this bitch goes and
This bitch. Yeah, you already answered the question.
because she goes and gets crimps, and I'm like, "What's this?" She was like, "Yeah, we did something different. I wanted to do something different." I said, "Well, you know what your difference did? That was too much heat on my daughter's hair, and a little bit of it like thin a little bit, like breakage started to happen a little bit, and my daughter has thick, long hair. So that's you not following directions." And I'm about to have a quick flashback, but I don't want to curse because yours monetized. But you're not following directions, and you want to do what you want to do, and now you done messed up my daughter's hair. See, that's why. Okay, that's not your kid, but I want you to protect her and be nice to her, and tend to her as if she was. But at the same time, if I say don't do this because of whatever, you need to respect that.
But see Dana, therein lies, and I hear you, but therein lies the reason why some women don't want to date men with babies, because they gonna have to deal with you when she thinks crimps is fine, and you say you didn't follow instructions.
But I told you from the get-go, because I didn't ask you to take my daughter to get her hair done. You wanted to take. I said, okay, she can get the blowout.
Okay,
That's
got
it.
it.
Your whole
You
accent
wanna
is
do
coming out
something
right now.
different, and this is what happens when you don't listen.
Well,
Let me-
I'll
let-
say
Actually, from the
this.
East Coast,
I
I'm
did
from
a
New
video on
Jersey.
that too, like a year ago.
If these were the problems, that we were having, really the issue wouldn't even be that big of a deal, because these are like the problems that usually people are talking about online and are speaking to are much more petty than. Not saying that's significant, because if you mess up a female's hair, they may not get that back. I've seen that in my family, like perming kids' hair at a very early
you
age.
feel
That's why I
comfortable.
mentioned that.
And then it was
Yeah.
one time she took her to the doctor. It was her father supposed to take her for a doctor's visit because I couldn't make that appointment. And this is another thing I didn't like. You keep pushing your responsibilities onto her, and she's only the girlfriend. I don't care if she live with you or not. You taking her to the doctor, and my thing is,
Dana come with that baby mama drama.
the doctor asks, "Do you want the parent or whoever to be in the room with you?" But that's not your place, because if it's decisions that need to be made, you ain't the one to make those decisions, and they're supposed to be her father. So I'm like, well, where the hell were you at? Don't play with me.
He got it done. See, a lot of men just look at it as getting it done. Hold on, let me acknowledge the quick super chats. We got Jason. Look, we got Jonathan. My guy Jonathan Barronville. He hit us with another. Jonathan is a millionaire. He got to be. He hit me with another $50 super chat. Nothing to see here. Just some dusty money from a dusty guy. Whatever, Jonathan. I appreciate you being here, big dog. And then we have another super chat. I always want to acknowledge. I've been told I got to not always acknowledge the super chats because they're blessings and people are not required to give them. And so I just want to do that. Mr. O says legally the non-custodial parent only has say-so on moving the kids out of the country and signing off on passports, unfortunately. Any other say-so is allotted by the primary parent based on the respect for you. But if they don't respect you, then it's like whatever you don't have no say-so based on the custodial.
Yeah, no, and that's true. That's absolutely true what he's saying, but there's problems that can be created, trust me.
We had joint custody, and joint custody is both parents comes to a decision, not just one over the other. Primary means as far as physically living in one place more than the other. But so we had joint custody, and I was primary parent. We had to make decisions jointly. Which
joint legal custody, primary physical. So you have joint legal and so I understand that me and my ex-husband, we had joint legal custody, and I had primary physical custody. But because I was a physical custodial parent, I had to consult him with certain things, but because
Right.
she was with me, I had the final say so. So going back to the dirt bike situation, even though we had joint legal custody, because I would have had primary physical custody, what I said would have went, and I would have deferred to my husband. Moving right along, back to the question.
Yeah, we didn't
I
say
am
you
not
didn't have the ability to do so. Like it's
right.
just some more. Yeah, it's more the dynamics outside of that, because that's how it goes
Absolutely.
anyway. Most of the time, you know,
Well,
you be happy to be told.
and a lot of times, let's be honest, and going back to Shan's issue, I'm not gonna act like I got it all together, because when my daughter was really young, before her father and I reconnected, and she was like a toddler, and the first girlfriend he had, I acted a plumb fool, and the
Oh,
reason being,
so you
because, and
ending.
here's the thing. Well, my daughter was like 2 or 3, and at the time I was in Oklahoma, he was in California. He wouldn't let me know where he lived. My daughter couldn't speak for herself. And so again, that was a whole different dynamic. But when it gets right down to it, when stuff like that happens, it's because a mother is insecure. I'll be honest. I was insecure. I didn't want my daughter, or fear that my daughter would like the girlfriend better. That's when I was young, 27, 1, 2, 3. When she was 1, 2, 3. Once I got the revelation that was stupid, and then he got with a young lady, Miss L, who loved my daughter. I mean, absolutely loved my kid. Can you see me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see.
I had no problem with her. As a matter of fact, I when they broke up, my daughter still went to see her. Because again, the best thing that you can hope for is that whoever your ex is with, that person loves your kid. That's the best that you can hope for. So I had no problem. Comb her hair, don't put no pressure. She didn't do nothing crazy like that. But absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And going back, because I wanted to kind of talk about too, because I'm glad we went through these dynamics, because a lot of people think it never gets to this point, and I rarely speak on this stuff, but it goes to show you I do know some of the intricacies. I'm not just saying it. Again, a lot of this, it's really the mentality that people are seeing, which is where the stigma of a single mother comes in. It matters if you are married versus not married. They tend to have a different mentality. Women that are divorced tend to have even if they tend to have a different mentality on how it's supposed to go, versus women that they were just playing around, having kids, and then kids came out of that. And so what happens is women like to always sell the idea that they've changed when they may not be as far along on that journey as they claim. And then you get a dude to be committed to the woman, committed to the kids, and then there's a bond that's created, because men have a mental imprint versus the biological imprint that women have. And then this dude's dealing with the my kids. Then it's the lack of respect that stepfathers get, that we all dudes see. I keep telling women, if women were smart, they would do a stepfather's day, on top, or celebrate stepfather's day more. I mean, I'm here to say, look, if you want to advocate for what you want to advocate for, there's a lot of stuff folks can do. Also, I would say that at the end of the day, again, the entitlement is a big thing, but yeah, the entitlement it's really like the biggest thing. And the other thing too is the way a lot of these folks are today is they want to say they're a wife one day, but then say they're for the streets the other day. And if a dude has to pick, he's going to default to the lowest common denominator, meaning if you indicate you're from the streets, well, that's how I'm going to treat you. And this is where the lies come in, which doesn't justify it. But if they see a woman is moving a certain type of way, even if she has kids, well, I call it hoe zoning a woman. Dudes get friend zone, women get hoe zone. Meaning and then how you show up matters. And even if you got a kid, dudes do pay attention to that. And there are some dudes that, a lot of these dudes are not pumping and dumping women that are actually moving in a certain way. They're not looking for women that are good women and then turning them into the dark side. Now, there are some dudes out there, so I won't say that does not happen. But for the most part, if dudes are really on that, they tend to look for women that are on that, because guess what? Those are easier women to do that with. Women that actually have values or they know what they want, they tend to be more problematic. As they cost more, they want more money, they're not doing the Netflix and chill. So dudes are like, okay, I'm going to where the women that are about that life are. And then it becomes, okay, how do we connect to the dudes that want to be married, or they more want one woman? Because there's a lot of dudes like that. And how do we put those folks together? And I think in the black community, you're starting to see a split of a lot of different culture values. And the question is, how do you organize people so people that are like-minded? And when I say like-minded, even if a woman has a kid and then she changes, and I mean legit changes, where is
What do you mean, for the
infrastructure?
better?
Yeah, for the better. Meaning, because when I say improve, I mean she gets her mind right. Meaning she understands what she wants. She understands the value of what she wants. And she understands the value that she's bringing, and then how you can make something better. It used to be the black church to be the go-to place to say, okay, I'm ready for a good man that's going to have these basics. But see, the black church ain't got no men in it no more. Now, I blame the pastors more than anybody, because they're the ones that basically decide to do the prosperity gospel, to tell women what they want for money. So I put that on them. But, well, there you go. That's what I got to say about that.
Can I interject something?
Go ahead, love.
Because I don't know if you want to touch on this on your list of topics on this topic subject, but I hear on these YouTube streets and different platforms that some men on YouTube channels saying that if a woman has kids and she meet a guy who doesn't, and he likes her and she likes him, then she should give the kids to the father in order to have a healthy relationship and to be valued. And I think that's so retarded. Why would I give my kids away in order for me to have a man, or what you consider a good man? Like, my kids could stay with me. My kids, their father could be in their life and stay with them as well. We could co-parent, and I can still have a healthy relationship. Why is it that I have to give up my kids? And on top of that, they're not saying that if a woman doesn't have kids and she meet a man that does, he doesn't have to give his kids to the mother. So yeah, I don't like that talking point. I think that's
that was one of my subscribers that actually set that on fire. His name is Smirgo. Now that's not something that I say. He didn't get that from me and repeat it. I want to say that straight up. But he said basically he goes into Facebook groups and sets stuff on fire. Actually got a lot of engagement and spurred a lot of, and to be fair, a lot of dudes were very disgusted by that. You had a lot of dudes that it wasn't like, oh, well, dude said he had a point. It was only a couple of people that said he had a point. The reason why is because Smirgo didn't come up in a situation where you saw the village situation, where you saw it work. What you see is dudes coming into a female situation, and then what he was doing, he was kind of trolling, but he was challenging the idea of, if you really want a man, this is the price that you're going to pay, and are you really willing to pay the price? And you saw that a lot of dudes, it was crazy, because a lot of dudes even said, I wouldn't even be sexually attracted to a woman that would do that. And that was said more than a few times. And we're talking about a post that had 6,500 shares and 12,000 comments. Yeah, I actually still have the link. So, Dana, if you want the link, I actually still have the link to the actual post.
Yeah, please give me the link, because now I do think that if, I have a son, I do think that sometimes in a co-parenting relationship, especially if you have a son, that the son at a certain age goes live with the father full-time completely, because you have to get that manhood. That's one thing. But to do it just to please and be with another man, I don't know, so, but I hear that talking point a lot.
Yeah. So I think,
go ahead.
I think when you hear, I think I heard it on Kevin Samuel's show one time. So it's a situation where a woman is, first you have to ask what the woman wants. Well, it was Kevin that said that? Okay, so look, the situation is, because Kevin normally is going to ask some questions to find out where the woman's head is at. And so generally speaking, if she is looking for the outcome of something extraordinary, then Kevin is going to give her an extraordinary solution. And so if he's telling her, look, if that's what you're looking to do, then why don't you give your baby daddy full custody? Let your baby daddy be the primary custodial parent, and just basically since dating is so important to you, and since you want this high value man, and you want all these different things that you want, and you don't want no average guy, you don't want nothing regular, you want the special shit, then you got to do something special to get it. I think that's where that sentiment is coming from.
And usually the kids are like, and those, I've seen those calls, and in those calls, the kids are like either 8, if not 13. They're like 13 or 12. So they're already kind of at that point where you might want to think about what Dana was already talking about if they're boys. The Facebook post that I'm referring to was a lot more, hard line. And sometimes you have to make hard line comments like that in order to spur a conversation and to really see where folks are at. Sometimes, but the reality is this mentality of it's your kids, and let's be clear here, that's definitely in the community that it's my kids. Dudes are just, I literally hear women that say, oh, he's just a sperm donor. And they say that openly now. Like, they say that as a matter of fact. They will say that even before they are pregnant. If they get baby fever. So it's not even necessarily to denigrate the dude. It's a mentality. And when you have that sort of systemic mentality, you have to address that in a certain type of way. Because honestly, what I see is women saying they're pretending they're changing only to try to lump a dude into getting resources that get the bad culture.
Like him in, and then it's a wrap. Real quick,
yeah.
No, finish your thought. I just want to shout out a couple super chats.
No, but dude, real quick. I mean, dudes are going to respond to that in a certain type of way. Like the way these younger millennials are built and these Zs are built, they have to have extraordinary solutions for extraordinary circumstances. And I'm not saying none of it is none of their fault, but the dating market is brutal. And so, yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, Comma Store Podcast gave me a super chat of $9.99. He just showing some love. So I want everybody, if you can, please open up another browser, open up another tab, go to YouTube and type in Comma Store Podcast. Do that also for Edward Anderson and for Dana with the data and TJ Randolph. But for sure, Comma Store Podcast. I appreciate you, bro, for that $9.99. That's really helpful. And then I got to give a shout out right here to Anton Daniels pulled up. So Anton put up with my highest, mind you guys, I just got monetized 3 weeks ago. So this is the #1 highest super chat I've ever received. It'll be burned in. I even monitor. If you go and look at the description of the video, you'll see the people that's been supporting me. Anton has been my biggest supporter as of right now. And he just says, I love the work you're putting in. Hey, Anton, I appreciate you pulling up, bro. Thank you so much. I rock with Anton. I'm rocking with Edward. I'm rocking with Dana. I rock with T. I'm glad like I said earlier, I'm glad TJ, Kosher Clinician wants to talk to you about us doing like a Generation X podcast. So we got to talk about that. So I'm really appreciative of all the people that supported and the good people that's giving a lot of great content and helping us become better community of black people here in America through YouTube. So thank you so much. Now, TJ, you was getting ready to say something. Go ahead, love.
Yeah, this is probably going to get me in trouble, but I live on the edge. I agree with a lot of things that Kevin says, but sometimes I think he just really goes too far.
I knew that butt was coming.
And I say go because again, I know we are all different because I'm not the same person I was when I was in college, and I knew him in college, so I have a hard time sometimes, digesting some of the things that he says because it's just so extreme. Just give your kids away, or
But TJ, say it in context. Give it. Okay, use a different one. Give it. What's a different example of something that Kevin is going too far?
I agree, but see, here's the problem. Here's the problem, though. Is everything is in context, and we get that, but everyone.
Oh, but the average person don't understand that.
Everyone listening does not. Shall I give the example of Fresh and
Fit? That's the people that read the headlines and don't read the article.
Yes.
Well, Fresh and Fit is not ADOS too.
Well, I've listened to the context, and I can understand when you talking about the context, but the fact is that if that's your result of being with that particular high value man, then don't be with him. Why is he trying to pursue you? He wouldn't even pursue you. if he's
That's
high
what.
value and that's his preference.
But
So
that is
just to even insert that, and then, but not just him. I'm not trying to harp just solely on Kevin Samuels, because I hear other
Well,
content creators
you hear other ones because he
say that too.
started it.
So
Let's
it's
just
a
keep it
going
100.
thing, but it's a
They
go.
say
It's
that
a
because
going
he started it and they
Uh,
quote him.
right,
I
and they
mean, he
agree
may
with
have
him with it, and
popularized
they
it.
try to make it logical, and then I'm just
Okay.
like,
He may have like so, and I'm not trying to be tit for tat. One thing I got to say is about Fresh and Fit, and look, I don't like him. Like so. Let me be very clear about that. So this is not a defense. Myron is Sudanese, and where he comes from, the man controls the kids. Period. That's it. It don't matter if the kid, like, when you're dealing with Islam and stuff like that, the kids go to the dudes. And up until like in the 70s, where the 10 years doctrine switched to the women, it used to be that the men had control in the United States of America. See, people forget that. That switched too with abortion. Another gift from Feminism 2.0. And by the way, Feminism 2.0 is where I think it should dial back to be honest with you. So I'm not like on some anything that women say this feminist is like anti, like, normal. But we're in 4.0 right now, so whatever. But anyway, the thing is, I've seen women when I say give the kids, they give primary custody to the father.
right, because that sounds so draconian. Give my kids away, and so it's those keywords that are pushing on emotions, and it's like, oh, give my kids away. It sounds like you're giving it up at birth.
I'm not saying that Dana and them are implying that. But but they don't have to imply it, because in the black community, I'm talking about universal amongst black men and black women. Remember what I said? Those dudes basically said, I would not be sexually attracted to a woman if I found out she did that. Those are the dudes. I saw that more than once. I'm gonna give you that link because it's still real active. And you got to understand that stigma, and I'm not gonna get into the matriarchy talk, but that stigma in the black community is, if the one thing a woman can do, I'm not gonna go that far, but I will say there's only a couple of unforgivable sins that a black woman can really do, and that's in it. Even with the dudes, so it don't even got to be the women harping on it. The dudes are gonna default to that, and I'm talking about even dudes that have 2-parent households. So it's a stigma in the black community in particular that, let's be honest, it's not as much in other communities. This is not to say other communities are better, but I'll give you a perfect example. With Hispanic women, they can hate the dude. I've seen them hate, and I date mostly black women, so let's not jump into that. But I've seen dudes hate the dude and then stay, but he's a good dad though. I rarely hear black women say, I can't stand that nigga, but he's a good father. I've just never heard that. Maybe I'm too young. Maybe it is what it is.
it's very little. It's very little.
That she hates him. Usually,
and in a very little, it's like, okay, are you ADOS? Or are you from like African and this is what you talk? Because I ask that question now, and a lot of times, and I don't do that. I do that to say there's certain things that we deal with as a community that not to say, because these other groups have their own issues. Make no mistake. Every group in the diaspora has their own set of problems, but I don't care about those problems. I care about the problems we deal with and that we grow up with. Just like how every region has a problem. I'm in the Midwest. Sounds like, Dana, you're in the East Coast. I don't know, TJ, you may be an Army brat. You say you're in the military, but you're in the West Coast. So
I was the Army.
Oh, okay. Well, my point is different regions are represented, and we know in different regions there can create different problems. So that's why I say that. I don't say that to say we're worse than anybody. I say that we have unique problems that we're going to seriously address them. We can't lump in everybody else's issues into what we got to deal with. So, but yeah, there's a stigma attached to that, and I think a lot of times, especially with boys in particular, I could give you that women need to have the kids up until maybe 7 or 8, but as far as the boy, the males, but a conversation needs to be started earlier than that. But once 8 comes, a conversation needs to be started. And if these guys are there, because the idea that black men are not present in their kids, that's not as bad. The way the media portrays it, it's not as bad, nowhere near as bad.
Got us looking like villains.
So, And then we're not even going to get into the point where women talk about they don't want men with kids. Some women are like that, but I think that's overblown too. I think a lot of women, they actually think it's something wrong with a dude if you're north of 30 and don't have kids. I've seen that. And maybe that's just more with the millennials on
That's
down.
me though. That's me. I mentioned that earlier, Edward, because as I said earlier in the broadcast, I'm not sure if he was here. I was considered a unicorn when I was 40, right? Because I checked all the boxes that most women wanted in a man, and not having a kid. But guess what my problem was? Why you don't have no children? What's wrong with you?
You're suspect.
Why you don't
For a
have no
couple of different
kids?
reasons.
What's wrong with you that you don't have no kids? They looking at me side, I'm like, what? So responsibility is a crime in their eyes, and here, especially here in LA, it was.
Either you're suspect, or you
Yeah,
can't put it down,
yeah,
or you're crazy. Something
yeah.
is like
I'm
that's
shooting
an-
blanks or I'm gay. I'm shooting blanks.
Yeah.
Are you shooting blanks or are you down low? Because I don't come off feminine, so it's like, are you a down low gay dude or are you shooting blanks? What's wrong with you? It's like I'm neither one of those. Neither one of those is my problem. I got a dope. I got a good pullout game. I've had a good pullout game for 20 years, and you know what I'm saying. So so why is it that a responsibility issue? But that was the case, man. I hear what
And
you're
they
saying,
may
bro.
not say it, but it's a
a
look.
certain age,
Go
even though
ahead.
you're older than me, Shannon, by a few years, but our generation and older, everybody had kids. That was the norm. But the younger generation, I will say this, that and because I don't pay attention to the younger ones, whatever, Z or whatever, they are not having as many kids. You don't see a lot of teen pregnancy like you did in the 90s and stuff like that. Because I was a teen parent or whatever. So because we are in the same generation, you didn't have kids. Yeah, you are a unicorn. What was wrong with you? You waited till you're 40, but that's not the norm now. The norm is a lot of people wait to have kids. A lot of people are not making kids, especially the guys.
The Z's that may be true, and keep in mind, I consider Z's like about 25, 24 and younger now. But the millennials, because we grew up in that same household, we still kind of have that same mentality. So I'll give you, it may have dissipated, and especially it depends on what class of black woman you're dealing with. If you're dealing with females from the streets, did they claim like they are out there about being from the street? That's something they look at, and that's something they'll try to say. But also, they're not looking for a relationship then too. So then you got to separate women that are legit looking for a relationship versus women that they're looking to have fun, and then they don't really care. So you got to, it's out there. So that's why I always laugh when women, because I believe, yes, there are women that they don't want to deal with a man with kids. Yes. But I think if you look at it as the macro, the group, I think more women are more concerned. They don't care as much if they can get all the stuff, the provisions that a man is supposed to get, and then that's not going to be split up. If they can get the man in every way that they want, but he has kids, I don't think that's as big of a gap for a woman as that is for a dude. Today.
No, it's not.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not there, but it's not. It with dudes, because a dude has to still invest in a woman. A man has to have the money to invest in the other woman still. So even if he has kids, he has to make that up. A dude has to kind of come into, so that's the calculation. And again, I want to really harp this on, and I know this may not be complete manosphere rhetoric, is the reason why we say what we do in the black manosphere is because we have to draw a very strong line. Because we know growing up in this community that the women will just chip until we look up and then we're like, you ain't my daddy and all of that. Because they know they can get away with it because it's worked before. So dudes have to draw a very strong line, and then whatever exceptions that people make, because they're fixing whatever those issues are, then that can be negotiated. But overall, women need to show up a lot more. The biggest thing, again, I come back to is this entitlement mentality. And the older generations did not have that. And that's why stepfatherhood was more prominent. Another thing I'm going to say too is, and I don't know how this happened, but the chain was broken. Something that happened where these millennials did not understand the value of having, I call it the stepdaddy insurance program. And basically, I mean, for real, because you have women that, women want to talk about, I was young and I needed to grow. Well, that's what it is, an insurance policy. And that's what men are. these other groups of women that's why they only go so far, because they understand if you break the dude, you break your insurance policy. And to be fair, you're starting to see that with the general society, where like white women, for example, they're starting to enter the territory where they broke their men, and now they're starting to feel it. So what are they trying to do? They trying to look at other men that they could potentially raid if they want higher tier men. It's just us as black people, we're 20 years ahead of all of that. So my point is, with the stepdaddy insurance program, look at certain women. I'll name one example, like the Nika Marie, that goes into that cruise control stuff, that the system benefits the women more than it benefits the men. So it's imperative for the women to want to maintain that system, and for the newer generation of women to pick that up. If you also notice in the manosphere, you notice that we don't really talk about body counts a lot in the black manosphere. Most black men have kind of seeded that. It's just they don't want to see the kid with it. So again, somewhere in that chain, the women stopped appreciating what a stepfather could have. I don't know why, but they just grew up believing that stuff is magic. Like, men are just supposed to take care of women with kids, like as if they're childless. Because that's the mentality a lot of these younger women come at it with. Like women that are like in their 30s, let's say 36 on down.
Got it. Well, look, we're gonna wrap it up. I know for me, I tell people all the time. I say for women that, and like you said, Edward, women, there are women out there that would prefer to date men that don't have any kids, but I often also say that the women that are thinking that way are usually coming with a plan and probably have more of a masculine mentality in the relationship than getting on one. Because as you said, Edward, and why, as you said, most men, even if they have children, they still have to invest into their woman. They still got to cover everything. And so that's why you normally don't find too many wealthy men, we can use celebrities as we want, who have any problem dating anybody, because they know that the kids is going to be covered anyway. So that's just my philosophy. I know I got to wrap it up, so we got to get up out of here. Nick Cannon, so.
Oh, you ended it early today. No, what time did you start?
2 hours ago. We went for 2 hours. We're at 2 hours now. You started
at 4. I've got my hours messed up.
No. We're 2 hours and 2 minutes in. I've normally gone 3 hours, but guess what? I got to go get my boys. I get my boys every weekend, no weekends off. And so I'm on Fridays I pick them up and I take them back to school on Mondays. And so we're like, me and my ex, we're 50-50 legally and custodially. So we so we're half and half all the way through. So I pick them up every Friday. Too? Oh, they riding bikes. They get the masculine stuff from dad. They get the masculine stuff from dad. I'm teaching them how to be. I'm raising them boys to men for real over here. I appreciate
Shan,
you, TJ. Yes, love.
I was in before we moved to Oklahoma, I was raised in the jungle.
You was in the jungles?
Yeah.
I'm on 48th. I'm off of 48th and 6th Ave. Yeah, so I'm in Crenshaw District. I'm in the Crenshaw District right now. So that's what's up.
I was born in Dominguez Hospital.
You was born where?
In Dominguez Hospital.
Oh shit! So I say we got all these LA folk. That's beside. I think Dominguez is shut down,
I'm
but
on the East Coast in Jersey, New York to be exact. In the hood, Brick City. Hey, you know what?
We got a $10 super chat from and they said hello TJ. Salute Shannon, hello TJ, and shout out to Ed's Manosphere explanation regarding drawing a hard line. That's Sir Tice. Sir Tice. I'm assuming it's pronounced Sir Tice. Thank you, man, for the love. Appreciate you, bro. I'm getting used to this whole super chat thing, and I'm gonna make sure I'll shout out anybody that supports the channel. TJ, thank you for showing up. Edward, I'm a fan of yours. Every time you go live, I jump in there, whether I don't say nothing or not. I have you in. I listen to you before I listen to the radio when I'm driving. So I appreciate you. And Dana, I love you. I appreciate you for being here. Huh?
What's Edward's channel?
Yeah, just type in Edward Anderson in YouTube. It'll pop up. Like,
yeah, he's live like almost every day.
Let me get this 2 questions. So this is your schedule, like Monday through Friday.
I'm live. I'm gonna go live Monday through Friday. I didn't even think of a time because I don't want to step on anybody. Like Edward goes live all the time. I'm not sure when, but I'm going to I'm gonna go live at the same time every day. I'm gonna figure that out this weekend, but I'm going live Monday through Friday, no matter what.
Okay. Because I gotta get focused again next week, but I'm gonna try and hop on some of your shows next week. And then my second
for
question
sure.
is,
What's up?
second question is because I asked it in chat earlier. I want to know. I can't do it now. Never mind.
No, ask.
Cause it's like now I think of you as like a friend. I can't. That's so. I don't know.
You bringing some? You got some more smoke for me? You coming for some smoke?
No, you said you described yourself, and I asked a question about it, but I don't think you caught it in the chat when I typed it.
I didn't catch it. It must have been nasty. You talking nasty?
Yes.
Dana, you talking nasty? Your boyfriend watching this.
I don't have no boyfriend.
Shan, 2 things, please.
Yes, love.
How do I get in contact with you so I can get in contact with the kosher clinician?
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Lucky, said she spoke with me, so I'd reach out to Lucky. Can she tell me?
No, you can hit me direct. I'm Shannon, ShannonRawls.com. I'm Shannon Rawls. Okay. Like, so there's only a few Shannon Rawls in the world, and all of us understand that Shannon, the black guy, gets Shannon Rawls usernames. So I'm Shannon Rawls across the internet everywhere, and I even own ShannonRawls.com. Just email me. My phone number's on there. I'll shoot you mine. And then we can go from there. In fact, my phone number is 310-876-2876. You can just text me right there, and then I'll hit you back.
Okay, and lastly, tomorrow, me and my daughter do a podcast on Saturday, so you can hear the mother-daughter perspective of all the things I did well as the things I didn't do so well. Huh?
Okay.
What's the name of your YouTube podcast?
Oh, Mosaic with TJ Randolph. And my daughter keeps it real. She holds me accountable. She held me accountable, and I end up doing a live apologizing to Anton for being a fool.
That's what's up. All right, so I'm gonna tap in. But what time tomorrow so I can set it on my calendars?
Oh yes, it's at 11 o'clock Central Time. So that'll be 9 o'clock.
Perfect.
9 o'clock.
That's perfect.
So 11 o'clock.
Thank you for having me again, Shannon. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Say again.
Y'all have a good weekend.
What'd you say, Dana?
No, I said thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, thanks, and thank you for being here. I'll talk to you later. Thank you guys. All right. We out of here. And so we go here. Listen, appreciate you guys. We've gone 2 hours, which is short. I'm getting used to, you would always think that when you go live, it goes for an hour, maybe 45 minutes. 2 hours is short, especially when you get into the conversation. Like right now, I still got notes that I want to talk to people about on my on this particular topic. We didn't really even get into the baby daddy side. We need to actually do a part 2 of today's broadcast because we didn't really get deep into the baby daddy side and the baby daddy drama. We talked a lot about baby mama drama, so we got to do a part 2 and talk about the problems that that baby daddies have and causes in women that date men. Women that date men that have problems that are baby daddies. Men that date women that date men that are baby daddies and the problems that women have to deal with when it comes to having a baby mama on the side. So is baby daddy's value low? We didn't even get that far, but we'll talk about that next time. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for the super chats. I'm gonna shoot us over to the outro, and I will see you guys again. I may go live this weekend. I know I'm gonna be on everybody's podcast, but for sure Monday. So please, and I gotta get used to that. Please subscribe to the channel and like you didn't hear anybody say hit the likes, because I'm not used to saying that or promoting myself. But you know what I realized? When people like the video, YouTube shares it to more people. That's the way the algorithm works. YouTube is more of a search engine, way better for videos than than Facebook or Instagram, where you got to kind of be connected with the person that's actually posting the video. YouTube, strangers can find the shit. And so I want strangers to find these videos, and the best way for them to find it is if you guys hit the like and the thumbs up button. So I appreciate if you do that. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm growing. I just grew past 2,000 subscribers. The goal is 5,000. I want to get to 5,000 as fast as possible, so then I can get to 10,000 and move on up and get this message out. I love guests. Most of all my lives are going to be guests. You guys are always going to be welcome to come up and talk. Nobody gets blocked. I love all of you guys. So I appreciate you. You have a wonderful weekend. If I don't go live, I'll see you guys on Monday, and we out.
Esa chica quiere selfie, ella quiere ver.
que el jefe se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo parezca en él. Como que ella quiere, disfruta la noche, lo anormal. Lo que el novio teme, que su relación va a terminar. Se da cuenta que no necesita a alguien más. Quiere un selfie para su Instagram. Ella ya no quiere relación, alguien que diga su condición, que solamente le dé traición, para después llegar con un perdón. Quiere hangar y ser de esos pibis que goza la vida y lo hacen como esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, ella quiere ver, para que el jefe se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer, perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo aparezca en mí, que yo aparezca en mí. No tiene sueños, solamente en sus sueños. Nos ponemos risueños con un norteño y mi flow brasileño. Yo te juro que es bueno, ya me doy el palo. Ese empate si lo desigualo. Le gusta lo nasty y lo malo. Me traje un regalo. Ella ya no quiere relación.
¡Ey!
Alguien que diga su condición, que solamente le dé traición, para después llegar con un perdón. Quiere hangar y ser de esos pibis.
You know, if you guys type something in the chat, it's gonna come up on the screen.
Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, ella quiere ver, para que el jefe se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer, perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo parezca en mí, que yo parezca en mí. Dime todo lo que ella quiere, nada ha sido regalado. Entre más independiente, más quiero estar a su lado. Esas nenas, mata, es que más. Ella está plena la noche entera. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, ella quiere ver, para que el jefe se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer, perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo parezca en mí, que yo parezca en mí. No, 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 no hice, Baker,
For sure, Mr. O. Thank you for that super chat. I'll hit you online.